Hi, how are you doing? Hope everything's going well. Just to talk briefly about the readings you have for this module, Module 7. Not going to go into them too deeply because you have them, but I just want to touch base on them. The first one, well, look, I just want to look at that one on why this concept of marketers being at the board table. This really isn't all that much to do specifically with international entrepreneurship, but I think it's a big issue, more and more coming to the fore these days, where the marketing effort, because the digital marketing effort and all that's around that, is really becoming a big driver for a company. Many of you may be working, and many of you may be marketing majors or marketing influence or marketing minors, and maybe working in a marketing job. But you'll find these days that marketing has changed tremendously because of the ability to measure your activity and to carry on so much activity digitally. It's made a huge difference in that business, and how it's measured, how it's constructed, how it's done, and it's quite fascinating. So this article is just basically saying that the marketing position should be elevated to a much higher level in a company in terms of the overall decision making process, and I really tend to agree with that. Usually, marketing is kind of misunderstood by top management, and also it even tends to be one of the first things cut when there's a business downturn. That what are we doing spending that? And the reason for that is that traditionally it's been hard for marketing people to show we did this, it resulted in that. And that's really the key. If we take out these commercials, if we put this kind of media thing, if we email blast these people, we hold these kind of events, etc., what did I get from it? And since it's been in general ambiguous or tenuous at best to really figure out what that connection is, there's been a tendency to not really know what quite to think about these people in his team. In fact, a company, a head of marketing at a company will have a lifespan of like 2 to 3 to 5 years. It's very rare that a head of marketing stays because they kind of get fed up with people not listening to them, and other people get kind of fed up with them always come up with these ideas they don't quite get, or wanting to spend money where they don't see where the return is. But again, that's really changing these days. There are a lot more ways to measure what you're doing, and a lot more direct impact on what good marketers are doing. So anyway, this article is on that, and I think that as part of what you're thinking of, if you're thinking about growing a business, going over across overseas, or doing anything on the entrepreneurship side, domestically or foreign, the marketing element will be huge. Most of the time when I have these kind of courses and we talk about that, they'll say, well, do social media and digital marketing. Well, it's easy to say, but it doesn't really do anything. It has to be much more focused with a lot more effort behind it than that. However, that's the start. It is going to be digital. It's going to be trying to reach people electronically and seeing what you can do that way. And you can find out a lot of really interesting things. So anyway, have a look at that and see if that makes sense to you. Because, again, in business, your whole thing is somebody buying my product? If I reach my customer, it's all about sales and the sale, client acquisition, and all that sort of thing. No matter what you make or do or serve, if people don't want to pay for it, or they don't know about it, or they're not don't see the advantage or the benefit, that sort of thing, then it won't work. And your marketing effort is to create all that. So anyway, have a look at that. I think it's interesting and well worth a read. The other article I want you to look at is again a little bit different, and it's on that one on 10 reasons why America is richer than other countries. Now, I'm only putting that in there because, we live in a country that's very prosperous in terms of the GDP, the per capita GDP, etc. But we're not. In many ways, there are other countries that might do a little better than in infant mortality, or in how long we live, education. Even basic freedoms. Sometimes there are other countries that we tend to think, well, it must be the best here, but we know that it's not quite that way. That there are other ones. However, given a chance, people want to come here. People want to sell here. They want to do business here because there's a lot going on. And I think it's good for you to realize or try to think about, why is that? What makes this place different? Because that'll help you not only sell here, but it'll help you understand the differences when you want to sell or operate in another country as well. So this, of course, there are a lot of different things you could read about this, but I think it's just kind of an interesting thing is that, what's different about here? Why is it so? And I think these are good points that they're not all encompassing, and you may and feel free to disagree with them. Of course, that's what you should be doing. But I think that in general, when you look at the culture here and the financial system, the labor markets, and the culture of here people work way more than other countries. I mean, way more. You might say in Asian countries they work over 2,000. It says there we work 1,800 hours a year here, and in Asia 22. But I tell you, I've been to those places. I've been to Hong Kong, Singapore, and Korea. I spent a lot of time in all those places, and it's true. There are a lot of people who work very, very hard. But sometimes, I mean, I've heard that there's no place to go. If their living situation is such that it's a lot more fun to stay in an air-conditioned environment than go home in some place that's not all that attractive to work. And so they're there, but are they working? Here, people work very hard, and a lot of people like this criticism of millennials, etc. Millennials are working super hard all over the place. So, our system, our culture rewards and encourages working really hard and long hours. And then, our energy supply and the regulatory environment. Our government, we have a lot of regulations that don't matter, but lately they've gotten a little bit better, and I think that that things are all things considered compared to other countries. There's more rationality around what, even if you find it to be burdensome. I was in the banking sector for tons of years, and I found the regulatory environment to be very, very difficult, very burdensome, very hard to comply with. However, you could also see, once you got the hang of it, you understood what everyone's trying to do. You're trying to protect the consumer, you're trying to avoid money laundering, you're trying to avoid terror. It all makes sense. It's just that it's hard to do, but it isn't like it's just crazy. It has a logic. So I think those things work here. And decentralized system, Florida, of course, has no state income tax, encouraged a lot of business development here. Those kind of little differences among states, they do create more opportunities. Anyway, have a look at that. That's just, again, there are tons of articles like this, but I just think it's always useful to think about, when you're going to think about going somewhere else to work, to do business, where are you coming from? What what's so interesting? What makes this place the way it is, whether it's US or France or whatever, and we go over there, what's it going to be like there, and how do those things match? And I think sometimes it's a good idea to take an inventory of where we are before while you start thinking about working other places. Hope those make sense. I think they're good articles, and talk to you soon. Thanks.